And if we were to encapsulate the talent that is within compound women, these two young ladies in Liko and Olivia pretty much sum it up. Olivia was in all 4 gold medal matches last year, winning 2, silver medal in the other 2.
And now please welcome Liko Arreola, target 1, target 2 for Olivia Dean.
And she was also national champion as well, Olivia Dean. So a phenomenal 2024 for the teenager. And Liko will be on target number 1, Olivia on target number 2. So how has it been the last few days then here in Florida? Because you're just from down the road. This weather, I know there's not much of a breeze, which I know the archers are not overly keen on, but the heat has been not as bad as Florida heat can be, but it's still been interesting all the same.
Yeah, it's actually been fairly mild. The heat just started to warm up a little bit now, but if we were here in a month from now like we typically are, the heat would be much worse. And the humidity is always stifling around here.
Liko getting underway with a 9. First one for Olivia. And lands with a 10 to Olivia Dean. On the finals field where we are here, Douglas, this is where the compound competition was. Does that make it a little bit of an advantage, the fact that they are used to these surroundings? Because obviously the recurve field away to our right-hand side, just slightly different kind of perspective to it. Maybe the wind direction is a little different, misbehaving somewhat, but what are the thoughts on being on the same field that they've had qualification?
It gives them a little bit of an advantage, but unless they shot on this very end of the field earlier, the winds can be a little different from left to right even on this field here.
29 for Liko. After that 9 to start, 2 X's to finish, 29. And 29 for Olivia. During one of her elimination matches this afternoon, Olivia Dean put a grouping together that was as close to each other as you could possibly imagine. I saw her taking a photo. I thought, what has she done? And I looked at the grouping of our arrows. Absolutely phenomenal. Right on the money, Olivia Dean, who will be, of course, part of the World Cup team. Heading off to China in a few weeks, was part of the World Cup Stage 1 in Florida a couple of weeks ago. Talk about the four USATs, Arizona to this one. What are the qualities of Gator Cup?
Well, it's always unique going from one venue to the other, because typically Arizona tends to be one of the warmer venues, but it's very dry. This year, it was definitely not warm at all. We were very cold in the morning. And then we come here, and it warms up a bit. But there, the winds were really bad. Here, they haven't been too bad. They're still picking up a little bit now, but a lot of people, I think, are looking forward to SoCal to see what it brings, because the weather is normally the nicest out there.
We saw that first end, 29 points apiece. It didn't seem to be much, and we can see the banners there blowing from left to right. There didn't seem to be much of a sighter, an early sighter from these archers. They got into their stride pretty quickly. As they come for end number 2, so 29-29. This is, of course, compound archery, so it is cumulative, 5 ends, and then whoever comes out on top at the end of those 5 ends will land the gold medal. If they are equal at the end, it will of course be a 1-arrow shoot-off, 50 meters, an 80-centimeter target face. And just to give you an idea, that 10 ring is just 8 centimeters in diameter. That is what they're aiming at from 50 meters away. Liko Arreola.
Liko with a 9.
starting end number 2 as she started the match with a 9. Let's see where Olivia goes with this one. Straight down the middle.
And Olivia has an X. Liko with a 10.
And you can't really tell that reaction from Liko there. She didn't seem too happy, but it landed in the 10 nonetheless.
Olivia follows her with a 10.
Olivia keeping up the pressure, maintaining that 1-point lead.
Liko with a 9.
So a chance here for a 2-point advantage for Olivia Dean. And that looks like a 9-10 liner, but I think they're going to call that a 10. And there we have a maximum from Olivia Dean, 2-point advantage at the end of end number 2, 59 to 57. Conversations that are had at this end, it varies, doesn't it, from the light-hearted to the instructional? What goes through your mind in between those ends when you've got a little time to think? And I know that, you know, the archer's mindset is always, you know, don't look back, always look forward, don't try and dwell on the arrows that have landed. So what is going through your mind, and what do you want to be hearing from your corner?
Well, a lot of times, you know, it really depends on how focused you are and how much you can let go of the little nuances that you can't control. A lot of times we'll end up having conversations just to make it lighthearted. We'll joke around a little bit here and there. When it comes to this level, when you get to the gold medal matches, it tends to be a little less joking.
And even though they are good friends off the field, it is business for these two. Liko will be part of the U21 division at the World Archery Youth Championships. That'll be in Winnipeg, Canada later in the year. Also as part of that team will be Kaylee Gurney, who was beaten to the bronze by Alexis Ruiz in the compound women division, and Abigail Winterton also managed to be part of that team as well. Emotional scenes from Abigail earlier in the week. Strong start from Liko at the start of end number 3.
And Olivia matches her.
Early mornings or the afternoon session, which do you prefer when the weather's as warm as it can be and has been the last few days?
For me personally, I tend to prefer the mornings when the heat's coming in, just to give a little bit of reprieve from it, because that sun will take it out of you. And these can be very long days.
And a 10 for Olivia.
Liko doing all she can. A pair of X's to start this third end. Looking to try and keep the pressure up. Oh, called a 10, but it's come up as a 9 there. We'll have to get some confirmation. Looks like that's just dropped short from Olivia. So 29-29 at the moment, although it was called on the field as a 10 for Liko, that third arrow. So that would close the gap to 1 point. If that is the case, and you can see Liko there just sheltering in the shade and maybe inviting Olivia over there as well. Olivia's quite happy to stand out in the sunshine. Working on the tan, I think, is the suggestion. There she's showing the whites of her arms as she's trying to get a little bit of sunshine. We're waiting for confirmation. 2-point gap going into end number 3. We've got A lot of other national events coming up over the next few weeks. The next big one, the Hotel Planner Collegiate Target Nationals, May 15th to the 18th. We'll have coverage of that on usarchery.org. And the next in the USAT is the Eastern Foundation SoCal Showdown. That is towards the end of June. So it was upgraded to a 10, 30 for Liko, 1 point the difference, 88, 87. And we go into end number 4. How much at this point is as much mental as technical? Now you're getting to ends number 4 and 5, and that 2 point gap has become a 1 point gap for Olivia.
Well, as long as the win doesn't get too out of hand, the physical doesn't come in as much here. The mental starts playing in to see who actually can let the circumstances affect them. 1 point's really not that big of a deficit, because a single errant shot can just change that right back around and end up in a 1-arrow shoot-off.
Looked like another 9 from Olivia. 2 9s to start this 4th end.
Liko is chasing her with a 10.
Liko did turn around after that 9, turned around. Her mum is in the coach's box and just had a little knowing kind of nod as if to suggest she knew exactly what had gone wrong. Corrected it with the 10. Olivia with the X. Needs the 10. Keeping that pressure on. 1 point the difference going into this 4th end. Olivia needs the 10 to keep that advantage going into the 5th and final end of this compound women gold medal match. And she drops it into the 9. So there we have it all square, 116, 116, heading into the 5th and final end. And you're right, that 2 point gap became a 1 point gap, and we're now all square going into end number 5.
This just shows the importance of making sure to focus on your shot process and execution and not worrying about anything else.
And we hear that so often, the process, follow the process, and because it's all gone. You know, that bad arrow, the good arrow, not too high with the highs, not too low with the lows, I suspect, is the mantra. And it's amazing how the top level archers are able to just move on and forget about that bad arrow or that, you know, below their kind of usual standards kind of arrow. And Liko, as I said, after that first arrow, that 9 had landed, turned around, knowing nod to the mum, knew exactly what she'd needed, and she corrected it with 2 10s. Has the conversation changed now between Olivia and Heather, her coach? Bearing in mind there was the 2 point advantage, has that chatty conversation potentially moved to more of a what needs to be done because there isn't that buffer?
It's likely just her reminding her to, you know, stick to her game plan and execute what she's been training to do.
Well, Liko will go first once again on this 5th end. She's got back to all square after trailing by 2 at one stage in this match, looking to go 1 better than last year when she took silver to Olivia Dean's gold. The same pairing in the gold medal match once again. Liko Arreola was top seed through qualification. That wind, as you can probably hear from the microphones, is picking up a little bit more. Just gone a little high and wide on that one as Liko for a 9 just opened the door slightly for Olivia Dean. And she's gone left as well. Shake of the head as she turns round to Heather. Fixing that glare, Liko drops it down the middle. Now the pressure is on Olivia Dean. And she comes good
And Olivia with a 10.
with the 10. Down to the final arrow for these two, 135, 135.
Liko with a 10.
Olivia Dean needs the 10 to force the shoot-off. It's a long hold there from Olivia Dean. She's just gone low, but lands the 10. And we have a shoot-off coming up. A little knowing nod there from Liko. Good performance and a smile from Olivia Dean. 145, 145. Some fantastic archery there, a little back and forth, and we're going to have some more. A one-arrow shoot-off. How are you with shoot-offs? What's your record? I suspect you remember all of those, do you?
I don't really remember each one individually, but I'm normally about 50-50.
Okay.
If I don't have anything that gets into my head, then you know I shoot my shot, and as long as it's a good shot, even if I don't, you know, if they get a little bit closer, it's always nice when it comes down to that final measurement and you can get the nod.
Is there any way of working on, like those high pressure moments in any sport? Is there any way of working on a shoot-off scenario in practice?
Honestly, the best thing is to find somebody else that you can compete with, just to put that little bit of edge in.
Okay. Because it is a scenario that crops up more often than not. In other words, you know, you could go through, you know, a number of shoot-offs within the elimination bracket. So it happens quite a bit. In other words, you best be prepared for it. And these two, well, I hope they're prepared for it. Liko Arreola, Olivia Dean, 15 arrows down. And they can't be separated. 145, 145. Liko will fire down the first arrow into the 10. Now can Olivia get closer? Looks like she can.
Olivia matches that and goes
And there's the smile from Olivia Dean.